Afternoon. Thank you for coming to Gail's Celebration of Life. If I could get everybody to sit down and take a seat or stand, whatever makes you comfortable at this point in time, and we'll get started.
And I just want to say that we are sincerely grateful to the many friends and family who have given us support and comfort during this very difficult time of loss. And we also want to acknowledge that we are on the land. The land on which we gather is the traditional and unceded territory of the Katzie, Kwantlen, Maski, and Saniyalu peoples.
I'd like to call up Ashley right at this moment.
All right, so for those who don't know me, I am Ashley Savage. I'm Gail's niece, and I'm honored to be here today to celebrate the life of my auntie. I'm really not a public speaker, so please bear with me. First, I'd like to read Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table for me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. These words remind us that even in grief we are not alone, that even in the hardest moments there is comfort, peace, and love surrounding us. And in the last 2 weeks of my auntie's journey, I saw that love so clearly. Jamie and Tammy showed such extraordinary devotion to their mom. For 2 weeks, they stayed by her side in the hospital. They never left her. She never had to wonder if someone would be there to hold her hand, advocate for her, comfort her, or care for her needs, because they were there every moment with love. That kind of devotion doesn't happen by accident. It comes from a lifetime of love, a relationship built on trust, care, sacrifice, and connection. It speaks not only to the incredible daughters Jamie and Tammy are, but also to the mother who raised them. As a mother of 2 daughters myself, watching that deeply moved me, and I found myself thinking not just about loss, but about legacy. I hope that one day, when my own time comes, I will have built the kind of relationship with my daughters that Jamie and Tammy had with their mom. A relationship so rooted in love and trust that they would not want to be there, not out of obligation, but out of love. To sit beside me, to comfort me, to help me the way Jamie and Tammy so selflessly did. Because what a beautiful reflection of life, on a life well lived. to be loved that fiercely in your final days. While our hearts are heavy today, there is comfort in knowing that she did not walk through that final valley alone. She was surrounded by love, by family, by devotion, and the peace of the shepherd that Psalm 23 speaks of. May we all be remembered not only for the lives that we live, but for the love we gave and the love that remains after we're gone. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call up Cheyenne.
I just really want to thank the Divinity First Nation for all of their support. We couldn't have done a lot of this without you, and one of the greatest things that Grandma got to experience was reconnecting with her nation, something that she never thought would be possible, something that was almost taken from her forever. So we're so grateful to have members of the Divinity here, leadership, and also just for your presence and your support during this. Nana Chaluya.
Next, I'd like to call up Brian. He's going to do the eulogy.
Well, there goes my eulogy. I want to thank everybody for coming here. It's just a packed house. It shows a lot to what Gail meant to everyone. I remember it was November 12th when I met her, and November 11th was when I met my wife, Jamie. And I went up to the door, knocked on the door, and Gail opened the door, and we really just stared at each other. Just our eyes just kind of locked, and it was a big pause. And we talked about that later, that there was just some kind of connection, like we knew each other already. We've talked about it a little bit, but we just lived it with our relationship together. And I'm never gonna forget that. She's quite an amazing person. You talk to her, she looks you in the eye, she listens to every word that you say, and always has something positive to say. I've heard from people about, how much she meant to them, even with helping them through difficult times. And she's really been a model I think for everybody to watch. And Tammy and Jamie, they have a lot of that in them. She's been a friend to a lot of different people. She walks into a room, not only is she her presence and her beauty, but it's also, I think people can see inside of her too, because that all resonates right through her. And easy to talk to, always has something good to say. One thing she has is her sense of humor. It's really unbelievable. Her and I together, when we talked on the phone all these years, we just laugh over and over and over again. She says something, I say something, and we just keep that going. It's a whole lot about nothing. It's always a Seinfeld episode. Mm-hmm. And she just has that love in her heart, unconditional, to people that she meets, and particularly to family. Family is so important to her. It always has been, and I've watched her throughout the years. I've watched her grow, and she is the center of our family. Christmases, New Year's, and birthdays. Still to this day, we go out for everybody else's birthdays. We meet both families. It's really just one. 6 kids, well, 7 with Zach, and 4 adults. And there's unfortunately one chair missing, but she's always going to be here. I think she's touched everybody's soul. And when someone touches your soul, you'll never forget them. They're always going to be with you. You know, she's traveled. She had 2 loves in her life, Bo and Barry. She told us for the first time how they met, Barry and her parents initially, because she was 14 and he was 18, and the parents didn't want them to keep going together, or her Gail's mom, Betty, and so shipped her off to Ryandell for a couple weeks. Lo and behold, when she was coming back, Barry met her in Princeton, and and Barry says it was just an amazing sight, because seeing her come off the bus in her white pleated skirt, opened the door for her into his 47 Chevy, and off they went. So, and that's something. So that just grew. He proposed. Said, I hope you feel the same way about me. And she just said, I loved you since the first time I saw you. And that love never faded, even to the last days. You know, Barry was sending really nice, I'm not going to say what he was saying, but just really nice stuff about her, talking about her. Bo, they spent, I don't know how many years they spent together, but quite a few. And he got her traveling, took her to Whirlwind, Italy, to France, and in France they actually did the Arc de Triomphe, where there's like 11 lanes and going around and around, and they had a hard time getting through that, but they made it because they came back. And you know, when I was there with a vehicle, I did much better than they did. I totally avoided it. And then after there, they drove and they went to Andorra, over the big mountain hump there, and then Spain, and ended up in Portugal. And got to see where Bo grew up, where Bo lived. She so much enjoyed those. On the slideshow, you'll see some pictures of where they were on that trip. You know, she, again, family, friends, and even just strangers. She walks into the room and she just gets to know everybody, and that was really important to her. Can't remember my ending. But you know, she said she was in the hospital. She was hilarious. She was absolutely hilarious, and we all saw that. Her sense of humor never stopped. Walk in, say hi, to everybody to walk in, hi, hello, give them a big hug. We had some really good nurses that were just phenomenal. We had this one, Gloria, who came in, and she just burst in and she said, hi, my name's Gloria, and I love to be in the center of attention. And on she went, and then Gail's laying there, and she started singing the song Gloria. Gloria. And then Gloria looks at her and says, I see someone else wants to take my spot. And that nurse, they wanted to move Gail because her room there was in emergency, and they wanted to move her into another wing upstairs. And they were going to keep her in a hallway, of all places. She fought. She stood her ground. She said, no way, that is not happening. And she came back, told us what was going on. She says, I'm getting you a room. And that's exactly what she did. We had one other one who was superb. He was just unbelievable. This is the time when Gail was starting to lose her speech and everything, and he came in, and she had to be moved every so often, and so he did that. He would line her up, make sure her body's all straight and the way it's supposed to be, and he affectionately called her mom. I can go on about nurses. Some are really good. We had one really unbelievable episode, and we talk about it as a family. It was phenomenal. She had that last burst of energy, and it was magical. She got her speech back, she got her energy back, and Annie Margie was there, and she went through every single one of us. And names, give me a hug, over and over and over again. And that not all the kids were there at that time. It was just the two youngest ones, Brad and Tiana. And so we got the phones on. All the other kids were there, and it was just the 6 grandchildren and her. And they were talking, saying how much they love each other and everything else. And then Gail just broke into song, singing them a lullaby. And that really changed everything, I think, in all the grandchildren. That really brought them all in. So, but that's what she was all about. She was all about family. She was about friends. All the people that came, she was so grateful into the hospital to come and see her. It was her wish. She wanted people to come. And pretty much everything that she wished for has come true, has come about. She had this one saying, when it's time to leave, to depart in a conversation, it was, I'll see you later. And I think for me, it's one thing about see you later, but I think for me I'm gonna see her again. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. That was really nice. I'd like to call Brad up, Gail's grandson.
Hey everyone, thanks for being here. It really means a lot to all of us. Thanks for everyone who came to see Grandma in the hospital, and anyone who couldn't be there, sending their thoughts and prayers. I wanted to share a little bit about Grandma and what she meant to me. She was my comfort person in a room full of people. She was the first person I went to, and she'd always give a big smile, grab your wrists, pull you in, give you a hug, and a smooch on the cheek. She went through over 8 years of cancer and hard treatments, as a lot of you know. She never complained about her life. She's the toughest person I've ever known. In fact, she was so tough that on the way home from her cancer treatments, she would stare down all the slow drivers in the fast lane. I remember one time, there was a lifted truck going too slow in the HOV lane, so Grandma gave him the stare. This guy didn't take it too well. He was a little angry. Visibly upset, the guy was mouthing swear words at Grandma, so now it's between him and I. Things blew over, the guy drove off, and I had to remind Grandma that she's starting fights with people that result in me getting punched in the face. Staying with her at the hospital in September, she was in there for a heart attack. She was scared and she didn't want to be alone. So while others came during the day, I went home and slept, then came back and watched over at night. There was one night where she had to use the washroom, which meant getting the nurse's help. So I stepped outside and walked 20 to 30 feet down the hallway, and I can overhear Grandma and the nurse chit-chatting. And the nurse was new to that shift, so she asked Grandma who I was, and Grandma said, "That's my grandson. We've always had a special bond, and he's my boy." It's only later on that you realize sometimes grandmas are saying things not just to be said, but to be heard. The following night, the same nurse came back for the night shift, and she was shocked to learn that somehow Grandma had retained her bottle of nitroglycerin and was self-administering at her leisure. When Grandma was admitted to the hospital in March, she was the most popular person there. Nurses were bending the rules so Grandma could see all the visitors that were coming by. At one point, I think we had 15 people in this tiny little emergency room. When things were declining, Auntie Margie and Auntie Betty came to see Grandma in the hospital, and Auntie Chrissy phoned in. And just like they had in August up in Prince George, the four sisters sat and chit-chatted. Grandma refused to stay lying down for this chat. So with all the energy she had, she sat up straight, and she couldn't support herself anymore. So I held her there in my arms. Only problem is that this chit-chat lasted an hour, and Grandma was leaning into me like I was a lazy boy recliner. I didn't get to have a real conversation with Grandma in the hospital this time around. When I got there, she wasn't able to speak sentences. It was pretty hard thinking that I'd never get to hear her say my name again. But little did I know that Grandma still had business to take care of. We all camped around her bed for weeks, not looking like anything was going to improve, until one night, like a scene out of a movie, Grandma started looking at people, putting words together, calling people by the nicknames she had used for us our entire lives. I was so happy for everyone, but I felt like the odd one out. She still hadn't looked at me or said anything to me. I wasn't sure how to feel, but after all, I was there for Grandma, so that was okay. I walked up quietly on the other side of the bed, and that's when her eyes shifted to my side. She looked right at me, and she said, "My boy!" Even in the hardest moments of her life, she was thinking about others and giving us all what we needed. Not in a goodbye, but an aloha. In the last year of Grandma's life, she insisted we drop goodbye, and we only say aloha. There's no goodbyes, never goodbye. All I could think about for weeks is how strong Grandma was. I've never seen anyone like that, never seen anyone that strong, and I was convinced I never would again. But what might have been one of a kind became three of a kind. Grandma passed that strength on to my mom and my aunt, who stood by her side the entire time she was there, weeks on end. Grandma, I'll miss driving you to your appointments, celebrating our birthdays together, and our chats just hanging out, and pretending to enjoy the home renovation shows you forced me to watch. I love you, Grandma. Aloha.
Thank you, Brad. That was one of many stories that we've all heard from Brad. He's got lots of memories like all the kids do. Next, I'd like to introduce my wife, Tammy.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's been a hard day, but thank each and every one of you. Your love and support during this time has been appreciated more than you know. It's evident how much she was loved by the turnout here today, overflowing. Our mom's always been such an incredibly huge part of our lives. Daughter, wife, mom, sister, aunt, cousin, friend, grandma, and most recently, great-grandma. I remember telling her when I was a little girl, I curled up behind her, bent knees on the couch, that I'd never leave her. She laughed and told me, yes, I would. I'd leave to find new adventures in my life, but I'd never leave her heart. Eventually, I did move out, but never left her. Jamie and I were both there for anything, everything she needed. She taught us so many lessons in life, but I think the most prevalent was as a family, you always show up for one another. Mom said she always felt out of place in her own family because she was the only one not named after someone. Her sister, my Aunt Janet, was the one that got to name my mom, and I always thought that made her special. But as our kids grew up, Mom had pointed out that none of her grandkids were named after her. So in 2021, I talked to Mackenzie and asked her how she felt about changing her name. At first, she was given the middle name P, which stood for her dad's, mom's, grandma's, and sister's middle names, Patricia, Eileen, Anne. She loved the idea of adding grandma's name, and we went about legally having her name changed to Paige, Patricia, Anne, Gail, Eileen. Mackenzie had to write a letter in her own handwriting to Vital Statistics, explaining why she wanted to change her name, and it's on display in the center of the memory table over here, for anybody who wants to read it. We gave that letter and the official name change document to Grandma for Christmas that year, and let me tell you, the tears were unbridled. When Mom was first given the news she had stage 4 lung cancer in June of 2017, the doctors gave her a prognosis of 5 to 9 months. We brought her back home from Osoyoos to give her the best treatment available at BC Cancer. When she first met with her oncologist, the doctor said she could try her on a new treatment plan called immunotherapy. Mom said to the doctor, "Don't worry, this isn't taking me out. I'm not going anywhere." And the oncologist politely said, "Okay," this sympathetic smile. 9 years later, we had the pleasure of several vacations, weddings, birthdays, holidays, time with her family, and plenty of dance nights upstairs here. We talked about so many memories and our thoughts and wishes. We said everything we needed to one another because no regrets. Right, Stace? We were so unbelievably blessed in the hospital after she'd been nonverbal for about a week. She had about an hour and a half of lucidity. She acknowledged everyone that was standing around her, hugged them, said she loved them, and even cracked a few jokes. It was absolutely incredible to see and be a part of. Towards the end, she didn't want us to say goodbye, as you've heard already. We could either hang up the phone if we were on the phone with her, or say aloha. So, thank you, Mom, for everything you taught us, for loving us unconditionally. We will always show up. Aloha. So, I've got something that we got from a relative in London. Gail, I hardly knew ye. Dear Chrissy, Tammy, and Jamie. It's with deep sadness that I learned of the passing of Gail. We lived the vast portion of our lives never knowing the existence of the other. It was through the marvels of family genealogy research, including MyHeritage and Genie, and social media, Facebook, that Chrissy and I first communicated in May of 2017. After lots of emails establishing our family links, she told me that Gail was coming to London in May 2018 with Tammy and Jamie. That wonderful meeting near Green Park in London with the three of us was especially meaningful to me. We instantly connected, and though the Wormley and Brown families had lost connection over several generations, we quickly established that we had indeed found missing links: Elizabeth, Betsy, Wormley, and William Brown. The second and only other time I met Gail was in BC in August 2019, centered around the celebrations for Uncle Babe's 100th birthday. She impressed me as a warm, vibrant, caring, and full of personality. Gail was on a mission to introduce me to many of the long-lost cousins. It was a pleasure to meet dozens of relatives on that trip, which enabled us to continue communications primarily through Facebook. I'm sorry that I could not be there to help with celebration, to celebrate Gail's life, but I hope that we can meet again. Lots of love. Wallace Warnley.
Thank you. This time we're going to do the slideshow.
I'm 15 for a moment, caught in between 10 and 20, and I'm just dreaming, counting the ways to where you are. I'm 22 for a moment, and she feels better than ever, and we're on fire, making our way back from Mars. 15, there's still time for you, time to buy and time to lose. 15, there's never a wish better than this, when you only got 100 years to live. I'm 33 for a moment, I'm still the man, but you see I'm a kid on the way, babe, a family on my mind. I'm 45 for a moment, the sea is high and I'm heading through war crosses, chasing the years of my life. 15, there's still time for you, time to buy and time to lose yourself within a morning star. 15, I'm alright with you. 15, there's never a wish better than this, when you only got 100 years to live. Half time goes by, suddenly you're wise, another blink of an eye. 67 is gone, the sun is getting high, we're moving on. I'm 99 for a moment, I'm dying for just another moment, and I'm just dreaming, counting the ways to where you are. 15, there's still time for you. 22, I feel her too. 33, you're on your way. Every day's a new day. Got 100 years to live. birds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, oh why can't I? Well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like a lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. And the dream that you dare to, why, oh why can't I?
When I think back on these times and the dreams we left behind, I'll be glad 'cause I was blessed to get to have you in my life. When I look back on these days, I'll look and see your face. You were right there for me. In my dreams I'll always see you soar above the sky. In my heart there'll always be a place for you for all my life. I'll keep a part of you with me, and everywhere I am there you'll be. And everywhere I am there you'll be. Will you show me how it feels to feel the sky within my reach? And I always will remember all the strength you gave to me. I took my love, took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Take my love, take it down. Climb a mountain and turn around. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, where the landslide bring it down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, the landslide bring it down. Oh, the landslide bring it down.
Hey, where did we go? Days when the rains came down in the hollow, playing a new game, laughing and a running, hey, hey, skipping and a jumping in the misty morning fog with our hearts a thumping, and you, a brown-eyed girl. You, my brown-eyed girl. And whatever happened to Tuesday and so slow, going down the old man with a transistor radio, standing in the sunlight laughing, hiding behind a rainbow's wall, slipping and sliding all along the waterfall with you, my brown-eyed girl. You, my brown-eyed girl. Do you remember when we used to sing sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, just like that? Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. you have grown. Cast my memory back there, Lord. Sometime I'm overcome thinking about making love in the green grass behind the stadium with you, my brown-eyed girl. You, my brown-eyed girl. Do you remember when we used to sing sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la in the green grass?
I brought back a lot of memories. I know I'm the youngest one into this family, or the last one, I would say. She meant a lot to me. So I just kind of realized, I always thought Gail had this amazing smile. I just didn't realize everybody in this bloody family has a beautiful smile. So I got to do some work on mine. So, at this time, I'd like to know if Bo would like to come up. I'm not sure where he's at. There he's sitting. Bo has some difficulties right now talking. He had surgery. He was in his own battles the last little bit. So we're just gonna get his words. And then after that, I'll ask if anybody else would like to stand up and talk or say anything.
Hey everyone, so Bo just had laryngectomy, so I'll be speaking for him. In Bo's words, this is our love story. In 1995, my friend Brett asked me if I wanted to go to the Guildford Casino to play a game with 3 balls and a wheel called Sick Bo. Sure, since it had my name, except the sick part, that comes later. We were playing, Gail and 2 dealers were running the game. I was 31 years old, mesmerized by an older beauty with long dark hair and a smile that could stop a locomotive. I turned to Brett and told him, "A woman is stunning." He said, "They can't mingle with us, with the customers, so don't get us kicked out." I said, "No problem." Personally, I thought she may be out of my league. One time, she went to the P&E, and there she was again. I thought she got another job. Later, saw her at Guildford. When it became the Mirage nightclub, I was disappointed to say the least. A couple of years go by. My sister-in-law said, "There's a new casino in Surrey, why don't you come by?" As I entered, Gail was the greeting person at the door with that gorgeous smile and said, "Welcome and good luck." I felt I had already won without gambling. Throughout the 2000s, I would bump into her everywhere, whether it was Richmond, the Renaissance Hotel, or even in my dreams occasionally. But I would just move along like a little chicken. I moved to Cologne in 2008, right after I finished building the boulevard. It turned out to be her last job, but I never saw her there. We were separated by 400 kilometers. I needed Superman vision. It was back in 2012 one day. My brother called me. "Come down to the villa, there's someone here to meet you." Okay, but just for a little bit. Just for a little while. When I get there, Gail was there with a girlfriend talking to my brother at the bar. Maybe Donna, I don't remember. My brain turned into spaghetti, but I kept my cool. She was finally not at work. Gail didn't know either one of us. What a strange universe. Finally, she wasn't at work. What a strange universe. Soon we were having so much fun, dancing and talking. Neither one of us were big drinkers anyway. Last song was Lady in Red. Appropriately dressed, her words were, "We don't have to go back to the table." As we were slow dancing, I thought God was playing a practical joke. We exchanged numbers and said goodbye. I left thinking, that went really well. Next day, I lost her number. So I waited for her call. On the 3rd day, and after 17 long years of what might have been, I drove to her 148th Street townhouse and knocked on her door. I felt I needed closure. She instantly forgave me and insisted I stayed for a home-cooked meal. After dinner and talking a lot with it, I was a gentleman and left around 10 p.m. Boy, could that lady cook. Definitely a keeper. Turns out she thought I was bothered by our age gap. Isn't that silly? I said, women should be older by a minimum of 10 years because they live longer. Then one person is not left alone. Makes sense to me. 2013, I got cancer. In a soft voice, Gail says, "Stay with me." It's a lot closer to Surrey Memorial. Gail Holden was a godsend, and I got cured. Great times. Okanagan, travel through Europe, and some good RVing. Everything was great for 4 years. Then she got cancer. I tried to assure her it would be fine. She was very strong-minded, but the doctor and Oliver kept saying 6 months to live, tops. None of us were going to accept that, and we were glad he was wrong. After a few road trips down here for treatment, we moved back, and she fought hard for another 7 years, always saying, "I'm not going anywhere." Trying to keep a job and taking care of Gail, even with all the help from her 2 awesome daughters, was hard, but she made it seem easy. I love shopping, cleaning, doing everything I could for us, dishes too, and she loved my cooking. Gail was totally worthy. Unfortunately, after Christmas, we both needed professional help. Our health deteriorated, and I couldn't care for her. March this year, she got hospitalized, and I was at home on oxygen tanks, not very mobile, and wanted to spend our last days together. I thought God was going to take us on the same day. That only happens in a perfect world. I found the strength to see Gail on her last day while holding her hand. I felt a little squeeze, and it looked like she winked. 7 minutes later, Gail took her last breath. Never selfish, I think sacrificed herself and gave me what power she had left in her. Like John Coffey did to Tom Hanks and that little mouse in the Green Mile. We loved our coffee, and that's my favorite movie. My surgeon said I'm not normal. Most people don't recover like me. I said I don't want to be normal. I know she's patient, and she'll do the waiting this time until we meet again. She's in every fiber of my being. Thank you for the best 13 years of my life and all the good times. Heaven has a new angel, and her name is Gail. Thank you for coming.
At this time, if anybody would like to stand up and speak, the mic would be open. Make sure you introduce yourself. I can talk to these, my son.
Hey everybody, my name's Jordan. I'm Doug's son. I met Gail when I was still living at Doug and Tammy's, and I got to spend a lot of time with Gail. And we would just sit around and talk about nothing. Just random stuff that didn't really matter. She's one of the kindest people. With, excuse me. With one of the biggest hearts. This is different for me. I don't usually respond this well. Or like this, excuse me. One of the things that I think about all the time is something that she told me when we were just sitting on the couch, randomly bantering about life. And how life is short, you want to live your life to the fullest, do all the things that you want to do to be happy in life, which is more important than anything else in the world. And she said, it's so important to talk to people about the things that happened in your life. Because whenever you do go, you take all of those memories with you. But if you tell other people about them, your experiences, where you've been, how your experience was with the world, then people get to take on those memories as well. And they get to tell other people those experiences. And that way, you never really go anywhere. You live on forever. And I've always had a similar mentality, but I could never put it into words. And now I can kind of articulate that. to other people that talk to me about this type of stuff. And I always think back to Gail and how she was the one that told me that. I don't think I have anything else to say. She was a wonderful person, and I'll miss her dearly.
So I'm Shane. I'm one of Gail's nephews. Yeah, Shane. There's only 4 or 5 left now that are allowed to call me that. They're all in the room here. So. Yeah, just watching the slideshow, just one thing that really jumped out at me is just the love that, you know, I've heard a lot about it today, the love that Gail had for everybody, especially her family. And, you know, in every one of those pictures, I was lucky enough to be a part of some of those moments. And I can tell you, yeah, a lot of love. Big family, lots of people, and always lots of love. Always lots of fireworks too, but mostly lots of love at the end of it. So.
Not a boring family.
Yeah, so, you know, Auntie Gail and I, we always have some pretty deep talks as well. I just, for some reason, I could talk to her and open up to her, and she'd never judge me. She'd always just give me great advice and that encouragement. And so recently, you know, I went through a pretty major period in my life just recently here. And, you know, although I was happy with the outcome, it was just one of those things where, you know, I was uneasy with it, struggling with the decision that I made. And this was, news traveled fast because it was only like a day or two later that I went into the hospital and seen her. And when I went there, she was, you know, I hadn't seen her like that before, and it broke my heart for sure. But before I could say anything to her, she looked at me and she just, with, you know, all the energy she had, congratulated me. And it was at that moment where, you know, I knew everything would be okay for me. So, and then, yeah, so then we had a great visit, and she had the energy. My brother Kenny and I were there, and we always like to tell the old stories and hear the old stories, and so we'd get them going, and we'd make a mistake, and she'd make sure she told the story the right way with all the energy she had. So, yeah, that was, you know, just for me, you know, to go in there and see her like that, for her to be more worried about me, that was pretty special. So, yeah, I'm proud to be called her nephew, so thank you. Miss her. Next.
Get up here. So I didn't plan on saying anything at all, but somebody reminded me of something that had happened to me, and I just got back from a month-long trip to Europe, and I was getting ready for the trip right when Grandma had gone into the hospital, and I was painting my toenails in the bathroom, and I was getting ready to go, and I smudged one, and I thought, okay, well that's annoying, let me get up. I just put my stuff away, get up, go get my stuff again. I turn around to go get it, come back to sit down, and somehow all of my nails are perfect, and I couldn't really explain it. I thought, that's so strange. I smudged one, and now they're all perfect again. So I'm on the phone with Mom, and I'm telling her the weirdest thing happened to me today, and I just was doing my nails, and this random thing happened. And Grandma's in the background in the hospital, and she goes, yeah, that was me. What do you mean that was you? And she's like, I fixed your toenail for you. Like, you're still alive. I don't know if that's how that works. And she goes, no, I went into the future, back in time, and I fixed your toenail for you. It's like, okay, if that's, I mean, thank you. That's a nice thing to do. She's like, yeah, I fixed your inconveniences is basically what she said. And so I go on to the trip. We'd lost her shortly before I left. I go on to my trip, and twice on my trip, I had the strangest things happen where I lost my phone, followed it clear across a city in Amsterdam, found it on the other side of town, and just thought, well, that's strange that it would come back to me. My friends are thinking, you're absolutely the luckiest person on earth. One of my friends even said to me, you must have a horseshoe up your ass. Because the fact that you found that, I said, no, I have a lucky Irish woman up my ass. And I just said, well, thanks, Grandma. And then again, right before I went to come back, I lost the phone again in a second city, believe it or not. And sure enough, I walk around the whole place that I was in, couldn't find it anywhere. I went upstairs, downstairs, asked everyone, no one had seen it. I go back to exactly where I was, so I thought, let me just check one more time before I leave. And it was right there on the floor. tons of people around, anybody could have taken it, but it was right there. And once again, I just went, thanks, Grandma. I was like, well, now that you're helping me with my inconveniences, let's go and find a Mother's Day gift for Mom. And so we're looking around and I'm trying to find anything that I can see as like a souvenir shop or anything to bring back. And it just wasn't coming to me. And in my head, I just was like, okay, if you're really here, if you're helping my inconveniences, help me find this present. So help me find something with a hummingbird on it, because they said that that's what their sign would be for when she was around. And I couldn't find anything. And in my head, I just said, like, you could find my phone. Like, you can't find me a hummingbird. And she goes, all right, I've already found your phone twice. Like, give it a rest, okay? Don't ask for too much here. So I ended up going online and I found the perfect gift for them, which was a wind chime, and it had a hummingbird on it. And I thought, well, that's beautiful. It had a poem and inscription on it that said, basically, anytime that you hear the wind, I'll be with you. I thought it was beautiful. So I ordered it, got home, gifted it to them for Mother's Day and for Jamie's birthday. And as they're looking at the inscription, they flipped it over and it had a tree on it. And I had no idea that this wind chime had the tree on it. I bought it for the poem and for the hummingbird. And we flipped it over and it was the tree. And she goes, oh my God, you got her tree. I was like, oh, I have no idea. What was the thing with the tree? So Jamie and Mom both have tree necklaces that are meant to represent Grandma. And it was something that they got for her. And I had no idea that they had this, no idea this meant anything to them. Didn't even know that the chime had this on it. And then Tiana showed me her new tattoo that she'd gotten while I was away. And it literally has that exact tree on it. So as someone who has been slapped in the face by signs, I know that she's still with us. And in everything that we do, we will still see her in the hummingbirds. And yeah, she's always with us. So it's not goodbye, obviously, but aloha, Grandma, because she's probably here right now.
It's beautiful. Anybody else?
Hey everyone, I'm Dakota. I'm the nephew of the grandson. I can't even think. Yeah, so I wasn't planning on coming up and speaking today, but going through the slideshow, hearing everybody's stories, I don't really have any, but I've been personally struggling thinking about, okay, how do we handle loss? How do we handle somebody who is so meant to us, was there all the time, always in our mind, always there, and no longer there? One conclusion I really came to was they don't have to be gone. When people are in our lives, they teach us, they guide us, they advise us, they trouble us. All of these things become a part of us. I think that memories are important, but memories fade. People are important, but people fade. Relationships fade. I believe, in my personal belief, it's the lessons that we pass on to the next generation, to others outside the family, inside the family, that really keeps them going. That's the impact they have on the world, is what it was. And for my grandma, for Gail, it was that smile. For hers, it was always that smile. Every time she comes into the room, we could be the saddest people around, and it would just be a smile. It's just contagious. It was her strength, her perseverance, her positivity. Those are what really, that was her personality, that was her essence. And so, though it's a day to, of course, there's aspects of mourning, but that's why it's a celebration. We're celebrating her life, and her life is in all of us who are here right now. So I hope that as we continue the day, we mingle, we tell stories, we share our moments that we've had with her, have a big smile on your face. Whether you feel like crying, feeling sad, do so, but always finish it off with a nice big smile. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces. It's very nice to have all of you guys here to celebrate my grandma. Wasn't planning on speaking today. I'm not very much of a public speaker, but again, after seeing the slideshow and hearing everybody's stories, it definitely compelled me to tell my own. This is a pretty important one in our family. My grandma would pick me up from school daily. She lived super close. She would pick me up and we'd walk back to her home together, and she'd look after me. And one day, while we were walking, I wanted to show her my skills. And I said, Grandma, look at me. I'm gonna climb this tree. Now this tree looked pretty short. It looked very climbable in my defense. The climbable part, not so much. It was a holly tree. I learned my lesson. And Grandma didn't warn me. And I think that that's the best part. This woman was very important to me. She took care of me and she loved me. And I want everybody here to know that she's gonna stay with us. She's living through us, living through my name, and living through her beautiful daughters and her grandchildren and all of her friends. But yeah, that's everything I'd like to say.
Lots and lots of memories in here that we've heard, lots of memories that I haven't heard. I can say it for myself, I'm lucky that I did get into this family. I've met so many people. This family is so big and so close with so many names that you're supposed to remember. So to all the people that I smile at, I love you, but I might not remember your names. So that being said, there's the reception will start after that. If anybody else would like to speak, this would be a good time.
My name is Fred. I was also lucky to be brought into this big, warm, loving family. We were at a thing today, and there was a guy, thank much. There was a guy, he said some warm, wonderful, smart words that certainly aren't mine. You shouldn't be sad today, because if you met Gail, you knew her. If you knew her, you were family. And so with that, I'm very pleased that I think one of my warmest part with Gail was she was so family. Loved her kids, her grandkids, to death. Okay. Now, what I respected the most from her was that don't try and do something that Gail wouldn't have approved of and expect you were going to get praise out of that, because it wasn't going to happen. But I think it has made all the kids better people for it too, right? One other thing he said, and I'm going to pass this on, probably shouldn't. For those with sensitive ears, please plug them right now. But this guy said, cancer, F you, Gail won.
Hi, my name is Leon. I am been Gail's neighbor for the last 3 years. Guess I'm kind of separate from the other side, but I came to Langley with my partner, and she made us feel so welcome. There was a time where I was going through a lot of things in my life, and despite how she was battling for sickness, she always took her time and sat with me, Chloe, and my dogs, and she really, like you said, she made me feel like family. She watched over me and my wife when we're not there. I think one time there was a burglar or someone drunk trying to climb into our balcony. We were asleep. Gail thought we were away. She called the cops the whole time. We were snoring away. So in just the 3 years, we've been neighbors of her and friends. It would take too long for me to say all the nice things about her. I'm sure you all know already. I just want to come up and say she made a really big difference. Just living next to her, and she was more than a neighbor. She was my friend. She's my family. I'm gonna really miss her. Coming home, me and my wife. I'm gonna really miss her. Thank you.
That's how she acts with everybody. She's makes you feel like you're important, even when you don't really know her. I've seen it personally. She changes people. She always has. I love her to pieces. Yeah, I'm gonna stop there. She's my mom. So, thank everybody for coming up. I want to thank Tammy and Jamie for all of the work you guys did to make this happen. The kids, everything that you guys put in, and your support mentally to your moms, it's amazing. You guys have such an amazing family. So, I love you both. You guys are our world, all the kids. So just remember that. And you guys know your mom's with us. She's showing us all the time. Tiana knows because she's in crap for messing up the bed. And it wasn't even her fault. So, but that being said, if anybody else would like to speak.
This is a hula about commemoration, about gifts and memory that our family imparts to us. It tells a story of carrying the traditions forward to honor them, to keep them alive, and carry forward the aloha that was given to us.
Mahalo no na mea, ia o
beautiful. I know Gail would so much love that. That's amazing. Yeah, the cold floor. Actually, probably feels good right now. So again, one more last time. There's one person that I want to name, Kenny. I love you, buddy. You want to come up and say hi? Come on, Kenny. And
You got stories coming out of like every corner of
Auntie Gail.
I want to know when you're at the mall.
That would actually be a good story. Maybe not the most appropriate, but. I wasn't planning on anything. I was hiding in the back there, but Auntie Gail meant quite a bit to us when I was little. My mom was working. She looked after me until I was, I don't know, 4 or 5, Mom? Something like that. So some of my memories, I had to grow up with Tammy and Jamie and Michelle and all them. She'd take us up to the pool all the time in Wally, and all my cousins were girls, right? So we all get out to go swimming, and I sat in the back seat, bawling my eyes out for a half hour, and she had to coax me out the back with my hands over my nipples because why didn't I get a talk, right? And then Mom came over one day, and my mom grew my hair till I was down to my ass till I was 4 years old. I had my first haircut, so she comes over one day, and then Gail had it all in a bob or whatever, and Mom comes to the door. I come screaming out the door and to see Mom, and Mom's, she cut his hair, but it was all in a ponytail and everything else. So I turned out good. I'm not. I didn't go to that side, but. So when I was 13, I always respected her. She was like my mom. I didn't want to do anything wrong in front of her. Me and the boys are like 13 years old. We're walking through Guildford Mall, and I'm 13. I'm starting to get into chicks and stuff like that. So we're walking along, and I see this. I guess a knockout. I don't really remember, but. Oh, what, that thing could sit on my Auntie Gail. And she's like, Kenny? She could sit where? So she's pounding me over that story for years. But anyways, we had that. Yeah, she was still talking in the hospital. So she was very special to us. She made it to Mom's 75th year, sicker than a dog, just before she went to the hospital, and she said she wouldn't miss it for the world. Thank you all for coming. She was special. So thank you. I love you again. I'm sorry, Kenny, I had to have you. Do you want to speak, Uncle Tom?
You got stuff to say. I know you do.
I got something to say.
You got lots to say.
Okay.
This getting old sucks.
Yeah, there you go.
Not yet.
Just take one in case.
Yeah. I can remember Gail, Kenny, Gail, and she denies it to this day, that the last time I seen her, that I'd pay her a nickel if she rubbed my feet. She denies that. And I think I was the first stranger into this family. Bud, I think, was the second stranger into this family. And God, am I ever glad. This is not a boring family.
Okay. Oh, we've got somebody. There's lots of memories everybody has in this family. So.
Okay, hi, I'm Caitlin. Hugh was my dad, so Auntie Gail was my aunt. I'm going to try and get through this really quickly. So, a lot has been said about the O'Donnell family, and a lot can be said about the O'Donnell family, even in my young years of being in it. But if you know my dad at all, he was not easy to love at times. And I can tell you, Aunt Gail, she was always there for him. which meant he was always there for us. Auntie Gail was, as everyone has already said, she was an amazing person. Her heart was so huge. And I miss the way she would grab my hands. Excuse me. And she would hold them, and she would look right into my eyes. And she would say my dad was proud of me. And she would tell me she loved me. And no matter how much time you spent away from Aunt Gail, the moment you were in her presence, it's like no time had passed at all. She just loved so fiercely, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that when there was hard news to tell, she would find us, she would grab our hands, and again she'd look into our eyes, and she would just deliver that news with a tender, caring heart. And she would check in, and she'd be there for the big moments. And I'm so grateful for her, and it's just been said so much today that her heart was so huge, and she showed up, and she truthfully did, and she showed up for all of her nieces and nephews. And being younger, like I'm like the same generation as a lot of other cousins, but much younger, and I never felt I'm much younger. I never felt in the family like anything was different. It's just Aunt Gail she just loved everyone so much, and yeah, I needed it to be known today that she always showed up for me and Megan, and she loved us like we were daughters. And I'm so grateful to Jamie and Tammy that they love us the same way. I feel like when I'm around you, I'm with Aunt Gail, and I'm so grateful for that. So thank you, and yeah, I love her, and I'll really miss her. And I'm really, really blessed that I got the opportunity to see her in the hospital, and to thank her for looking after my dad, for looking after us, and just loving us. So thank you.
She had that effect on a lot of people. A lot of people have said how big of a heart she has, and that was obvious in her smile and her personality and the kind of person she was. She's there for strangers. You don't see it in a lot of people, and I know I saw it. She had this huge heart, but she never ever shied away from letting you know when you screwed up. So that woman has guided so many people in the right way, me included. Not that I ever screwed up. I might have varied off to one side, but between my wife and her, I was right back in there. So I love her to pieces for that reason, and I think a lot of people who know her would be the same way. She guided a lot of us, and maybe not on purpose, just to her personality. So I know she didn't guide me to my wife, but she sure helped me get there. So again, if I had a drink, I'd toast her, even though she doesn't drink that much. I drink for her. That being said, thank you all for coming. Thank you for everything, and just sharing the stories, and mingle, keep the stories going. She's not gone. We'll never be away from her. She's with all of us. So, and she's made that clear. So we love her. Thank you so much.